I can't believe I'm doing this again. I already did the hardest puzzle in the world twice. This is literally one of the hardest puzzles I've ever done in my life. And hopefully this will be the last day that I ever have to work on a puzzle again. And now I'm about to do it 2 more times. How did my life wind up here? This is not normal. Okay, do you guys remember the puzzler puzzle? This is a jigsaw puzzle of a jigsaw puzzle, except the cut lines are not on the puzzle piece shapes that make up the image. So this first version of the puzzler was released in 1975, and then they also released an octagon version called the Puzzler 2 in 1983. And a couple years ago, I solved both of these on my channel. These were some of the first Springbok puzzles I had ever solved, so they were super hard because Springbok uses this kind of random cut, which is very unique to their own brand. And when I solved these, I was not at all familiar with that piece cut. So you put that along with the image itself being super difficult, and I struggled. I mean, you can see right there in the video how much I struggled. Since then, I have done a lot of Springbok puzzles, so I am much more familiar with the piece shape. And so, when Springbok reached out to me to do a video together, I was just like, it has to be the puzzler. Like, that's the only option for this video. So this video is sponsored by Springbok. I talk so much about the vintage Springboks that I think a lot of people might not know that they're still making puzzles. Like, I've literally gotten comments and emails being surprised that there are modern Springbok puzzles. So I'm gonna talk more about the history of the company later in the video. But for now, I'm going to be solving the new release of the puzzler for the 60th anniversary of the company. And I'm also going to be solving the version of the puzzler that they released in the year 2000. So this was in their Challenger series, and then the 60th anniversary one has the 60 embossed in the image. So I really don't think this is gonna be that hard. Famous last words, I know, but like, I think this is gonna be fine. Now, here's the thing. When I did the original puzzles, I was not yet timing myself, so I don't have an official time to compare these two, but I definitely remember these taking a very long time. I think I solved each of them over 2 days. And each of these, I think I can get done in just 1 day, so I mean, we all know what happens when I make predictions on this channel, but okay, let's take a closer look. Oh my gosh, I'm looking at this and I'm already getting flashbacks. But I have done so many Springbok puzzles by this point that I'm so good at sorting out all of the different piece shapes. So let's do it. This time I actually am going to time myself. So the secret to these really hard puzzles is to just be really organized. So here's what I did. I started by separating out all of the pieces that had any of this bevel on them, because I figured that's what I would start with. These pieces, which don't have the bevel, don't even exist to me right now. They are dead to me. I'm only looking over here. So then I, out of these, pulled out the ones with the white bevel, and I arranged them so that the white line is at the bottom, and then the kind of blurry white is here at the top. And then I was gonna come on here and be like, that made it so easy, and I just, threw some pieces together. That's not the case. I started looking at this to try to get this little section together, and I was just like, oh no, I'm lost. It actually was harder than I thought to get started, but now that I have something to work off of, I think it's okay. Okay, so it took me just under an hour to get the 60 finished, and then it took another 20 minutes to get to this point with all of the rest of the pieces sorted. So if you guys have seen any of my other Springbok videos, you know the drill by now. Over on this side, we have the regularly shaped puzzle pieces. So we have the castles, and I actually tried to group the really flat ones away from the taller ones, which are down here. I also separated out all of the ones that have anything funky going on. Then we've got this shape, and then this shape, so this row is going one way, and this row is going the other way. Again, I separated out the funky ones. Then we've got the standard puzzle piece shape, and our funky standard shapes. Then we have the 4 ins, and up here we had the 4 outs. There's only 2 of them. Then over on this side is the miscellaneous side. So up here is true miscellaneous, and then as I go down, you can see I tried to sort of group these with like characteristics. I could probably sort this even further, but honestly, there aren't that many of them, so I think it's fine. Then I have all of the edge pieces. However, I might wait to do these because a lot of them don't actually lock together. Like you can see another one there. So I just feel like it would be a little frustrating to jump right into the edge. I think it might actually be easier to fill in the 60 and then just work my way out because I have so much to work off of. And that's the thing with this version of the puzzle. It's so much easier because the hardest part is always when you have 500 pieces that, could potentially go in. But now I have 150, 200 already in place. So it's like I've leapfrogged over the really hard beginning of this puzzle, and now I'm in the, not easy, but medium difficulty middle of the puzzle. Okay, I'm so excited to get this 60 filled in. I've already spotted a couple of the pieces, so this is gonna be so satisfying. Well, I don't know if it's because this puzzle really is significantly easier, or if it's because I've just gotten better at these types of puzzles, but I'm only at 3.5 hours, and so just like I said before, I did just work out from the middle. And then as I was working on that, I had the idea that it would look really cool if I finished by just doing the edge in order all the way around. So I challenged myself to do all of the inside pieces before I touch any of these edge pieces. So let's go ahead and finish it up. I mean, this is definitely going to be under 4 hours. I was expecting so much more. I thought I was going to get through so many podcasts, and I only got through like 2 episodes. Well, that was way easier than I thought it was going to be. My final time was 3 hours, 37 minutes, and 12 seconds. And I really enjoyed that. I never felt stuck. I always felt like I was moving forward. This was great. I had so much fun with this one. But here is the real question. Can I keep up that time with the 2000 version, which obviously does not have the 60 in the middle, so I cannot knock out a bunch of pieces right up front. I'm so glad that they released this and that I have this, because it really does give us like a control for this little scientific experiment to find out if the puzzle is actually easier or if I have just gotten faster. But before I get to the second puzzler puzzle, I wanted to emerge out of my puzzle cave and come out here into the sunlight and the fresh air. So when I was talking to Springbok about what this video would be, they were like, yes, absolutely, do the puzzler puzzle, but maybe you could also do a second puzzle that, you know, regular people might be interested in trying. And I was just like, yeah, fair enough. So I'm just gonna knock out this butterfly puzzle really quickly while I tell you a little bit more about Springbok. So, did you know that Springbok was founded by a woman? Springbok was formed in 1963 by Catherine Lewin. One of my favorite articles is from the New York Times from 1964. They share the story of how Catherine's husband brought home a round puzzle from England for their daughter, and they and all their friends loved it so much that she decided to start a puzzle business. We love an entrepreneurial queen. That's why all of their early puzzles were round ones, and that has continued. They're still making them 60 years later. Also, those solid color puzzles that I've talked so much about, they only made them about a year after the company was founded. Truly ahead of their time. So they produced a lot of beautiful puzzles, which have become collector's items and often sell for hundreds of dollars. And as you've seen in videos where I've solved those vintage puzzles, the quality was unmatched. The cardboard was super, super thick. It was just really great design all around. Now, in terms of their modern puzzles, Springbok is currently making a few different types of puzzles, and the piece qualities vary between them. So I'm gonna break all of that down at the end of the video. So these puzzles are still made in the USA. They have a factory in Kansas City, and they still hand design the dies to get that Springbok cut that makes their puzzles so unique. They're also working towards being more sustainable. They use recycled paperboard and non-toxic inks, and they're transitioning away from shrink wrapping the boxes to cut down on plastic. We love an eco-conscious company. And then the last thing, they also have a Puzzles to Remember series, which is designed for patients with dementia or brain injury. Puzzles can really help with slowing memory loss, and they're a fun way for families to still interact together. So I think that is just a really beautiful product line. All right, well, without trying to rush through it at all, just doing it at a nice leisurely pace, that took me an hour and 41 minutes, and I loved it. That was super fun, just like the perfect difficulty level for a fun puzzle. But now, I think it's finally time to try the last installment of the puzzler. Wish me luck. All right, this is it. Today is the day. I'm going to attempt to solve this entire puzzler puzzle all in one day. It's only 8:30 a.m., so I have all day long to do it. And remember, this one only took me 3 hours and 37 minutes. So for this version, without the 60 in the middle, I'm gonna aim for 6 hours. I think that's a good goal, 6 hours. But let's open this up because I don't think I've ever actually done a Springbok from this time period. So let's see what we've got. Oh, wow. Oh, look at that. The first thing I'm noticing is that we have quite a few freebies and like big sections that are still all together. Luckily, they are coming apart pretty easily, so I am gonna take everything apart and start from scratch on this one. But yeah, this is a lot. I guess that's what happens when you have such thick pieces. They don't always fully separate during the manufacturing. And then if you were doing these puzzles in the 2000s, you might recognize this. It looks like we have an ad for their puzzle caddy. And oh wow, this is like the last generation that had this kind of thing, is an order form right here in the puzzle that you mail in. Kids today don't even know what this is. But something that I really like about this puzzle so far is that they really updated the colors. This is giving very like Barbie Lisa Frank vibes, and I'm here for it. I'll show a comparison of all of the puzzles at the end, but I just love this like fuchsia, this lime green, this aqua blue. I think these colors look so nice together and look a little nicer than the older versions. Okay, I think I'm just gonna get started and I'm gonna keep separating these as I flip them. So let's go ahead and reset. And then, oh boy. Okay, hopefully this should be the last time that I ever have to solve the puzzler. Let's get into it. Okay, so we are an hour and 2 minutes into it, and I can already tell that this is going to be more like the originals than this newer one. Like, this has already been so hard. But I did so much sorting. Let me show you the sorting. The sorting is so beautiful. All right, here is the entire table. So let me show you what we've got. Over on this side, there actually are relatively few of the normal piece shapes. So you can just see, you know, how I sorted those out. I ended up putting the V-shaped ones down here because I was running out of space over on that side. Down here are the ones with the regular top half and then something funny going on the bottom half. And then over here, we just have all of the little ones broken up by characteristic. And there are so many miscellaneous pieces over here that they're all kind of like smushing together. So as I get more pieces in, I'll be able to separate the sections a little bit better. But it's like these rows are all the same. These rows are the same. I could probably pull these down. These 2 rows are the same. We have 3 rows of this one, and then 3 rows of this one, and then 2 rows of these. And then up here is the true miscellaneous. So this is a lot. It is very overwhelming. I decided before I stopped the time to try to get one single piece in here to work off of. And I managed to do that, so now I have a little bit to work off of, but just like I was saying before, having this many pieces just automatically makes it so much harder. If I was only starting with 300 pieces, this would be no problem, just like the other one, but just look at all of that. This is a lot. Oh man, I just did a 3-hour and 40-minute puzzling marathon. This time, I finally made a dent in some of my podcasts. But at the end, I challenged myself to try to finish this entire ring, and sure enough, look at how satisfying that is. So I'm up to 4 hours and 42 minutes, so I'm definitely gonna finish it today. I'm gonna finish it in under 6 hours because the beginning is the slowest point, and now that I have so few pieces left, I literally only have one left of this shape, it's gonna go so much faster. I will admit, when I first started, I was like, oh no, 6 hours is very ambitious. This is gonna take way longer than that. But then I got into the groove of it, and I thought it was gonna, I'm really impressed by that time. So I guess I just have to finish it up. I did have an idea. I don't know if I'm actually gonna do it, but if I wanted to show off a little, I could just spiral my way into the center. I might try that. All right, here we go. Only 6 pieces left, and then I'll be done with the puzzler forever. All right, 5 pieces left. 4 pieces left. Can you guess what I'm gonna say? 3 pieces left. 2 pieces left. The very last piece of the puzzler. I am done. Okay. That was not as hard as I thought it was gonna be. That took me 5 hours, 18 minutes, and 41 seconds. So I think we can officially say that the original puzzlers were not nearly as hard as I was making them out to be in the last video. It just takes doing a bunch of Springbok puzzles and getting used to the cut. I think I've just gotten better at this type of puzzle. Oh, and before anyone comes on here and tries to accuse me of cheating because I did such a close-up of the last little bit, here's how I did it. I did solve it ring by ring, which you can see in the behind the scenes time lapse that I was filming. And in this behind the scenes time lapse, you can see me basically lightly placing down the pieces and then moving them off to the side and then filming me putting them in for real, one right after the other. That way I just wasn't using up a ton of memory on my camera. There was only one single piece that I could not find. I even looked in the bag. I was looking on the floor because I swear it was not there. But then of course, as I was getting up from looking on the floor, I found it and it was there. So it was just the one piece that I didn't quite do in order. But everything else I did do ring by ring, which was super satisfying. All right, today is finally the day to get all 4 puzzler puzzles next to each other. I'm so excited. This is the kind of thing I love. Look at that! There is so much puzzle history on this table right now. It is so satisfying to just see them all in one place. So this is a very simple idea for a puzzle, but I think it's very effective, and I'm really happy that Springbok kept returning to it and reiterating on it. So let's compare them. The original is the original, so it gets points for that. Surprisingly, since it is a vintage Springbok, it really doesn't lock together super well, which you could see when I was trying to get it out of the box. Now, the 1983 version does lock together very solidly. I like that they switched it up by doing an octagon shape, but I think the colors are so drab and dark and ugly. I actually think that's my least favorite of all of them. Now, in the 2000 version, once again, it locks together super, super solidly, and I love these colors. I think it is such a great update from the originals. It makes it a lot more modern without taking anything away from the design. The only thing is that the box isn't quite as retro and cool as the original ones. It's a little more generic, but for the puzzle itself, I think it is like fully on par with the original. And then I feel like the 60th anniversary has to be in its own category because they added the 60, which makes it significantly easier. But I actually think that's a great idea to make this more accessible to the average puzzler. They already did the original 3 separate times, so I think it's a great idea to take some of their old concepts and remix them at all different difficulty levels. So then, something I noticed only just now when putting them right next to each other is that these puzzles have different numbers of colors in the design. So the original has 7 different colored puzzle pieces. The 80s version and the 2000s version each only have 5 different colors. But then the newest one jumps all the way up to 10 separate colors. And I definitely think having more colors makes it easier because I know that when I was looking for like a piece with this lighter blue on it, there just weren't that many pieces with that color, so it was a lot easier to find. But I did do the 2000s version pretty quickly, so I don't think dropping down the number of colors makes that significant of a difference. Oh, and then again, I only just noticed this, but looking at the line quality, in the original, it's kind of a soft line that stays pretty consistent around the outline of each piece. In the 80s version, they add this really distinct bevel, and so the line art kind of goes in and out in thickness. In the 2000s version, you have a really sharp, clean, uniform line between each piece. And then in the newer version, the line is a little bit wobbly, which is definitely a stylistic choice. I don't think it really made a difference in putting it together. It's just interesting to look at them next to each other. Okay, and then one more difference that I noticed is that if you look at the edges of each puzzle, the original cuts off on the edge, and so does the 80s version and the modern version. The 2000s puzzle is the only one where the edge has edge pieces in the design and it doesn't just run off of the edge. Okay, so going back to the modern Springbok puzzles, I did get some insights that I want to share with you. Because of the different types of cardboard that they have to use for the round puzzles versus the rectangle and the square puzzles, the round ones don't lock together as tightly. You can see that the fit doesn't stay totally locked together as you start picking it up, and that was also the case with the round butterfly puzzle. But if you do get a modern rectangle or square Springbok puzzle, they do lock together super tightly, like enough that you can throw the puzzle in the air and nothing's gonna happen to it. However, there is one drawback to a super tight fit like that. If you're trying to do a speed run of one of those puzzles, it does take an extra second to sort of smush each piece into place. I ran into that when we did this crayon puzzle for a speedpuzzling.com online contest a few months ago. I did still do it really fast and I did place very well, but I did feel like it would have gone faster if the cut had actually been a little bit looser. But I think I had a little bit of an advantage from being so familiar now with the Springbok piece shapes. So, as I have proven in this video, the secret to getting better at Springbok puzzles is just to do a lot of Springbok puzzles. They just have such interesting piece cuts, and you really do just have to do a lot of them to get familiar with all of the little tricks they use and be able to predict what type of shape you'll be looking for, which, now that I think about it, totally sounds like some over-the-top advertising for a video sponsored by Springbok, but I swear it's true. So, if you want to get started on all of that Springbok practice, I have a promo code for you for 15% off. All of that info is here on screen and also down in the description. So I hope you guys liked seeing a more accessible puzzle review. A criticism that I get sometimes, which is totally valid, is that on this channel, I tend to concentrate on the more rare and or very expensive puzzles. So I hope you guys liked seeing a review of a puzzle where it is very easy to go out and try it for yourself. And please let me know if you race me and if you beat my time. So let me know, are you going to take on the puzzler? Or are regular images like this or like this one more your speed? What other vintage Springbok puzzles would you like to see them bring back for the modern day? Your code word for the comments will be 60. So happy puzzling, and I'll see you in the next one.